Welcome Average Joe Nation from around the globe. Props to you for staying up to date and keeping in the know. With fantasy football, man, very soon you'll reign. The knowledge that these three guys have, man, it is insane. Fantasy football talk, hateful eight, they wear the crown. Hold it down, Pickle, Blackburn, and Trimboli, hold it down. Pulling up to LB Design Studio, we're getting loud. Season 2, headphones on, red light go, break it down.
Welcome back to the Hateful Eight Fantasy Football Podcast, the final episode of Season 2, also known as the Fantasy Football Award Show. I felt like there should have been like a giant explosion noise or something right there, like there you go, boom. Anyways, so yeah, today's the final show of Season 2, a little bit more relaxed.
See, we do our own side, our sound effects. Man, I can't talk already.
That's all right.
Good start.
Good start. But yeah, so make sure you're following the show's Twitter account, as you'll see at the bottom of, if you're watching on the YouTube or on DATV, you'll be able to see all the different social media account handles. If not, and if you're listening on the podcast side, it'll be in the descriptions as well. But yeah, today is the final show of the season. I can't believe it's already over so quickly.
It always goes like it.
I feel like it seems like it starts out so slow in the off season, and then once the season hits, it just kind of rolls quickly.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the season flew.
I was to say, with you finishing your first season, it was. I was gonna say, did it seem like it? For at least for, I feel like for us, it seems like once the season hits, it's kind of like downhill quick.
Yeah,
not in like a negative way.
No, it really was. Yeah, there's a lot of build in the off season, and then when the season hits, it's all business all the whole year. Now it's just like you can take a breath,
take a little bit of relaxation.
Well, it seems like playing fantasy in general makes the NFL season go by a lot faster.
It does.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I feel like since playing fantasy football like dedicated for the past like 5 years or so, I just feel like the NFL season kind of is like a blur, and not in a negative way. It just, like you said, I just think it just goes so quickly.
Yeah, I mean it does. It really does.
But
it's just unfortunate after the Super Bowl. There's nothing to watch now.
Right, there's no college football. I mean, you got college basketball you could pick up in March Madness type thing, but the NBA is about halfway through the season, right? So baseball.
I'm just not a big NBA guy. I mean, I still watch the local Flyers here, but
right. I mean, I'll watch like a couple of NBA games if I know it's like a good matchup, but I don't just watch an NBA game just to watch an NBA game.
I do.
I know you're a big NBA fan.
I love the NBA, but
I like their All-Star weekend.
My Cavaliers are hot garbage right now, to say the least.
Yeah.
So it's not fun watching them right now.
That's okay. LeBron James apparently was he sent out how do I want to put this? A masked Instagram post or whatever with Kyrie Irving. He tagged him in, and he was singing "Rewind" by Fetty Wap or whatever. I was like, I heard it on my way into the studio. I was like, so somebody's like talking about maybe like this is a thing of him trying to get him to come out to the Lakers, but I'm like, I don't see. That was the whole reason why he went to Boston, was to get out from underneath the shadow of LeBron.
Yeah, but 2 weeks ago, Kyrie came out and apologized to LeBron.
Yeah,
for being that young player that wouldn't listen.
Yeah.
So, but who cares? LeBron's not coming back to Cleveland, neither is Kyrie, so I don't care what they do.
Right.
Yeah. And I can't put either one on my fantasy football team, so.
Right.
All right. So, like we said, today is the Fantasy Football Award Show. We've got 6 different awards voted by you guys, the listeners. I mean, there was a lot of votes.
We appreciate that. That made it interesting.
It does. I mean, unfortunately, Mickey Mouse did not win any of the awards. I will spoiler alert.
That's unfortunate, though.
He had
a strong push.
He had about 5 votes.
He's got faithful following.
So, and then who was the other one that I thought was the funniest one? I think it was Leonardo from the Ninja Turtles, and it said Leonardo, and then in quotation it said Ninja Turtles.
That's the blue one.
What category?
For the guys that you guys don't know Ninja Turtles, that's the blue one.
Right. It was Comeback Player of the Year.
Comeback.
I was like, awesome. So thank you for the
My
the
boy
good
Mikey would have won MVP. So
right. The good ones. We had funny ones. We had real ones. So overall. All right. So let's go ahead and get into the award show. And with the first award, what is the first award? Before we, and I got a sound drop. So you say the award, and that's how we'll roll with it.
All right. The award right out of the gate, the big one. Your fantasy football MVP.
Is
No surprise here. It goes to the guy who scored the most fantasy points ever.
Right.
Mike Glennon.
No.
Oh.
But good guess. Patrick Mahomes.
He was a close second.
Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah, no
Yep.
surprise. That dude just blew it up this year.
That whole offense blew it up. So I will tell you that he had, I think when I totaled it out, it was about 65% of the votes was his.
Yeah.
And a close second at like 20-some% was Christian McCaffrey.
Right.
I mean, yeah, I could see McCaffrey too, because toward the middle to the end of the season, he turned it on too.
Yeah, well, the three names that I got consistently, obviously, majority of them were Patrick Mahomes was Mahomes, Christian McCaffrey was second, and then Gurley was third.
Yeah.
But to me, I mean, I agree with you. I think Gurley did win a lot of people regular season games. But, I mean, towards the end of the season, once he kind of came up with that, like, injury that's still undisclosed, which we probably won't find out until after the season's over, he kind of started tapering off. And, I mean, the last couple weeks of the season, it was primarily, even in the playoffs, was C.J. Anderson.
Yeah.
So let me ask you this: at the current situation of what you're looking at, if it never comes out that there's an injury of any kind, we all know that there's probably some sort of injury that they're just not going to explain of any kind. But if it never comes out that he had an injury, never comes out that he has an off-season procedure of any kind, can you still hold Todd Gurley as a first-round overall draft pick, knowing that what C.J. Anderson's been doing the last 4 weeks? And he comes back.
If it comes out that he had an injury and they re-sign C.J. Anderson for a multi-year,
They won't.
We don't know.
I listen. I know C.J. Anderson's having a great postseason. I think postseason football and regular season football are two different things. I really do. I think the way they scheme everything, everything's different. So I don't think C.J. Anderson's going to be there. And either way, I still think not only Gurley a number one first round pick, I still have him as the number one.
Okay. I was just curious.
Well, C.J. Anderson he came in week 16. He played week 16 and 17.
Well, he came in because they wanted to give Gurley a rest, and they needed a backup. And I'm drawing blank on the backup's name who got hurt.
Mac Brown?
Yes.
He's out. He was out. He'll come back. They were high on
Brown.
Malcolm Brown.
Malcolm Brown. And they were big on him, so.
I guess my question is, if it never comes out that there was any type of injury and they just play it off like
But there is an injury.
We all know that. But, I mean, a lot of people I've seen have said, with the knowing of how the offense has been used the last couple of weeks, with the fact of how much they paid Todd Gurley, the fact that they want to keep the longevity of Todd Gurley, does this make you concerned of him being a top 3 pick? And to me, I would say it's mildly concerning, but it's not anything to the point of wavering like a Le'Veon Bell situation this past year that definitely drops him out of the top draft picks for me. He's still a first-round draft pick because I think he's still going to get his. But my concern is what Sean McVay just said in the last couple of days about the reason why he tried to somewhat professionally address it but not really give too much was that it's all about game script, or however he said it, and we're using it as a game script. And if we got C.J. Anderson basically beating guys up at the line for those grinding yards, where they're like 2-3 yards here and there, then you bring in somebody like Todd Gurley who just outruns everybody. So, I mean, I understand, but
if I see that they re-sign Anderson for at least 2 years, that means he's going to be part of the game plan. That would concern me a lot with drafting Gurley number 1.
See,
you could get Barkley, you could get Zeke, you could get somebody that's going to be force-fed the ball at the number 1 spot.
Yeah, but the reason why I don't want Zeke, he's not going to catch enough passes. Gurley's still going to catch more passes, even in a split role. But we thought the same thing when C.J. Anderson signed with the Carolina last year.
True.
Oh, he's going to come in and eat these carries. He never did.
True.
He never did. I think he is a need right now and a necessity for the Rams and what they want to do, especially with Cooper Kupp out.
Well,
I think when Cooper Kupp comes back healthy,
I think that puts a different dynamic into the offense.
No. Do I think that there's a spot for not really a split back, but to taper off Gurley a little bit? Yeah, they're going to need to too if he's going to be the face of this franchise going forward. If not Goff.
I mean, they just paid him a pretty good amount of money for was it 16 or 17 million a year or something like that.
He's still signed relatively cheap though.
He is
for what he could ask for.
I mean, he'll eventually sign for bigger money in another year or two, but I think that they want to get the longevity out of his career as much as possible. Yeah. And if they can somewhat sparingly, I guess if I'm looking at it from their perspective, if I can use C.J. Anderson to basically kind of be the battering ram that he has been and take some heat off of Gurley. But I think at the end of the year, regardless, we're going to hear that Gurley has some sort of knee issue or a tear or a mild.
That'll
whatever.
be the big question.
That's the thing too with C.J. Anderson. He didn't show up in Carolina and balled out like he has been.
This is also true. He wasn't given the opportunity.
Right, yeah.
So we'll
see. Listen, there's valid points on both sides. I could literally argue both ways.
Oh, I'm sure there'll be a lot of discussions for season 3 in the early off season about this Gurley C.J. Anderson situation.
Gurley's Gurley. I get it. You know, you can't just say, oh, well, C.J. Anderson's there. We're just going to just forget about it.
Right.
I get that. But there's other running backs that are
I get
not fighting for carries.
Listen, I'm excited about Barkley next year too.
I am too,
especially if what they do in the offseason and draft.
Right.
The Giants, I mean, so.
Giants. Go get Dwayne Haskins.
Right.
Yeah.
For the betterment of your franchise over the next 5 to 10 years, easily, please go get yourself a Dwayne Haskins.
That'd be nasty. Haskins, Barkley, OBJ, Ingram.
I mean, you got a quarterback who can legit throw the ball.
And then just work on offensive line, Giants, and free agency and the rest of the draft.
Right.
Yep.
Please.
All right. So with that, we've got, speaking of rookies, what is the next award that we were going to be handing out?
You want it?
Yeah, I'll take it. Fantasy Rookie of the Year.
All right.
Saquon Barkley.
Shocking.
Didn't see this one coming.
Right.
I would tell you the only other rookie that it was even close. I mean, he was pretty much, I think he was like 80-some% of the votes. Saquon was. I think we had the second place guy was Baker Mayfield.
Of course.
Yeah.
And then in third,
Phillip
fourth, and
Lindsay.
fifth was all the different. Phillip Lindsay actually didn't even come close. People did not put him in that.
Was Chubb in there too?
No.
Wow.
He had maybe 2 or 3 votes.
Chubb
honestly
came in too late, but man, he was a workhorse.
I think people kind of voted on the length of the year, like the whole from beginning to end, and
Baker didn't come in until like week
3.
Yeah.
Lindsay is a surprise that he's not in there.
He was, I think, maybe 5th on the list. 3rd and 4th were wide receivers.
For being undrafted, though, I mean, like, that's ridiculous.
Yeah. I think Anthony Miller was in there. Christian Kirk was in there. Yeah. So those were the couple guys that were mentioned ahead of Phillip Lindsay.
Yeah. They won your 16-team league.
Right. So, but Saquon was...
He was
lights out.
Check down master is what I called it because,
yeah.
I mean, he was the beneficiary of a lot of check downs from Eli.
I mean, even if you didn't play in the PPR format, you still only played in like just the standard format or the non-PPR format, he still got you a lot of points. But when you put him into the PPR format, like you said, with all the check downs and how horrible that Giants offense was, and it was literally like hike, 3 seconds, up, dump down to Saquon. So
yeah.
There was one game, I forget who it was against, but he had like 15 catches. He had like 20-something points off of like 15 catches.
Well, who was it? It was in our league. It was Brooks had made the comment, and he was down by like I think 6 or 7 fantasy points at that point, and he ended up winning. And it might have been against Thacker, and he came back because Saquon literally had nothing but just checkdowns of like 1 yard, 2 yard, 3 yard, 1 yard.
Well, you got to take all that into consideration when you're drafting running backs. You know, your scoring setup. So.
Well, he drafted Barkley 3rd overall in the draft.
I mean, in our moment, when we were all sitting there at the lake house, we were all like, did he really just draft Saquon at
when
number 3?
He said Saquon, I was like, okay.
Well, there's a lot of interesting things at that draft. I mean,
this is
a
also
certain guy that never played went number 1 overall.
Right.
Yeah, good job, Thacker.
Yeah. So, but anyways.
But he made up for it.
This is true. So, but ultimately, Saquon Barkley is going to be, he's a top 4 pick next year easily.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I hate to say it, but unless you're like I got to have a wide receiver in my first round, I really looked at some of like the early mocks that are already kind of going on SleeperBot. Like the first 6, 7 picks are running backs, across the board.
Well, there's a huge drop off. You got to get your hands on the good ones while you can.
Plus, the main good ones catch too. So PPR, they're studs too.
Well, I think the ones that I've been seeing consistently going is 1 is Gurley, 2 is Zeke, 3 is Saquon, 4 is Christian McCaffrey, 5 is Kamara, 6 is Gordon, and then I think it kind of differentiates between 7 and 8.
Gordon always falls, and he's a stud every year.
Yeah,
until he gets hurt.
That's the problem.
Yeah.
His injury proneness. I guess.
I'm curious what CMC's ADP will be when we see officially how long Cam Newton's out.
Yeah, that could be.
Like, I'm curious.
He could drop him a couple.
Yeah, I mean, I still think he's still within that top
10.
Yeah,
easily top 10.
Yeah, I was gonna say I was maybe in the top 7 still.
Yeah,
but I'm just curious enough it will drop at all or fade, depending
curious,
on which direction
I'm curious
they go.
to see what the Saints do with their backup running back spot because I'd like to see Kamara be full-time.
Yeah.
The first 4 games that Ingram wasn't there, he was averaging almost 35 points a game.
Yeah, I mean, you kind of saw what they want to do. Once Ingram came back, they kind of went back to that traditional kind of what we saw last year.
Yeah.
By last year, I mean 2017, where they split them in different formations. So it'll be interesting that for sure what to see when you get with those guys, when you get Kamara by himself.
Yeah. Well, it's going to be interesting to see, just projecting these guys all out because even now I'm just thinking in my head, I don't even know if I'd project Zeke as a number 2. He just doesn't catch the ball enough for me to put him up there that high.
Well, I think that they were banking on what they saw. I think it kind of goes into the Amari Cooper effect where they thought once Amari Cooper came in, Zeke's of points on average on a weekly basis kind of start ticking up weekly. And, I mean, Amari Cooper is going to be back next year. The offensive line is supposedly with Travis Frederick's supposed to be back next year. I'm assuming that Michael Gallup will be there, obviously. Right. So, I mean, the offense will be a little bit better than what they were. But plus, they got rid of Scott Linehan, so thank the Lord about that. Now, they still have Jason Garrett there, but
yeah,
we'll see. All right. We'll see.
As a Redskins fan, you approve?
No, he just likes to clap a lot.
Oh.
Right.
But I still approve.
Right.
I hate Dallas.
So, we'll see. We'll see. I mean, Saquon could potentially jump into that 2 spot if they go get a true quarterback.
Yep.
Well, Breeze said he wants to come back another year next year.
So does Phillip Rivers.
To make another run at the Super Bowl.
Phillip Rivers, I think his quote was, "I've got a handful of years left to play," is what he said. And I'm like, whatever, man. Whatever you got to do.
Chargers said they'd love to have him, so.
Well, yeah, their next best options, where they're drafting, is probably not going to get them a good quarterback unless they can go get somebody like a Nick Foles or somebody in the draft. Or not in the draft, but
listen, he's still shown he's going to play at a high level. I'd let him play
They got talent. Hunter Henry will be back.
Yeah.
Right.
They got Gordon and Allen and the Williams brothers.
Right. Plus, they got the 2 running backs, Eckler, back there as well. So, I mean, they've got plenty enough guys offensively, and their defense will just be better.
They were just set up to win this year, and things kind of fell apart at the end.
They ran through
Patriots, man.
They ran through Gillette Stadium and did not make it out alive.
No.
Patriots in the playoffs is not good at home.
No. So, all right. So let's go. What's the number 3 award for this year?
So this actually was a really interesting one. It's the best draft pick.
Okay, so somebody who was mild to we kind of classified as middle to late round draft
they ended up being a stud.
They ended up being like a worthwhile stud on a weekly basis. So let's go ahead and get into that. All right, the winner is
James Conner.
James Conner. I'm not surprised, honestly.
Yeah.
Look, go ahead.
I was gonna say I don't know how close Mahomes finished, but he would have been.
Mahomes was 3rd.
I'm surprised when you get the most fantasy points ever put up by any player, and would you get him in like the 8th, 9th round?
Yeah.
If he even drafted.
I will tell you, number 2, the second place guy in this one was George Kittle.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can see that.
So he was 2nd place. Mahomes was 3rd. And then I don't remember who 4th was.
My thing is with Conner is it just shows that, to me, Pittsburgh is the running back spot there is a system. It's the system that does it.
It's a plug and play.
I'm not to take anything away from Bell. He's a great player. But look, Conner stepped right in and played. When Conner got hurt, Jalen Samuels came right in and played very well toward the end of the season. So I think it's the system.
I would agree.
Same thing in Kansas City. Kareem Hunt, great. Damian Williams comes in and just blows it up.
I mean, I think that you see like a slight tick backwards, but it's not enough to be like, oh my gosh, this guy's not as good.
Yeah, you can't avoid him.
Right. I mean, obviously we all know sitting here that Le'Veon Bell is a better overall running back / athlete than James Conner. However, when you looked at the field and the production, you did not see much of a difference. Right. Now, if you really studied the tape and you kind of looked more in depth, you could kind of see the misses where they missed Le'Veon Bell. But you wouldn't notice it on a game-by-game just by looking at fantasy points and production by James Conner. But if you looked at film, you could kind of see on a play that this would have been a check down to Bell, a 3-yard dump down pass that he didn't do it to Conner. He ended up chucking it down the field to Vance McDonald or to Juju Smith-Schuster. I will tell you, I personally think, I know that there was a lot of turmoil with Brown and stuff that just kind of slowly came out towards the end of the season, but I think that the lack of pass catching ability from the running back position, not that James Conner couldn't, but the amount that they did not dump into the running back position, I think went to Juju. And I think that's why you saw Juju with so much more volume, even with a top wide receiver like Antonio Brown opposite of him.
And the tight end spot. They haven't used tight ends like they did this year in a long time.
Jesse James, Vance McDonald, they got involved in it. And I just think that was because they just didn't feel 100% comfortable with the volume that they were feeding James Conner. Because there was at points where he just kind of seemed like he was starting to wear down a little bit.
Yeah.
And they kind of peeled it back a little bit and didn't give him as much volume. But
True.
So we'll see how that goes. But James Conner, I was looking at ADPs already for this year. James Conner is one ADP spot behind Le'Veon Bell. I think he's like at 109, 110, something like that. And Le'Veon Bell's in that top 8 pick right now.
I'll tell you what, it for Bell, it solely depends on where he lands.
Right. I mean, Le'Veon Bell's pretty much, his ADP is pretty much stuck to right around, I think, 107, 108.
If he goes to Miami, I don't know.
He drops.
Yeah.
Big time.
You think he's a second-round pick then?
No, I listen, he's still, for me, until I'm proven wrong, he's still going to be, until he proves me wrong or whatever, he's still going to be a number 1 draft pick. But I'm not going to lie to you. James Conner, to me, seems more intriguing in the Pittsburgh offense.
All right, so let's see this. You're at the end of the first round. You got, let's just say, Hopkins. You got OBJ.
Let's say, because wide receivers are going to be pushed to the back end.
Yeah.
You're going to have the premium wide receivers. Do you take one of those over Bell? If Hopkins was sitting there, would you take Hopkins over Bell? Or would you take Bell?
Bell in Miami?
Yes, Bell in Miami.
I'm probably going to jump on Hopkins, and that's me as a running back guy if I'm that late. Depending on where I'm at.
Okay, we'll say out of 12 teams, you're sitting at the 110, and Hopkins is there, and you know that Bell won't be better when you get back at the 202, 203.
Yeah, because here's the problem. I almost feel like you have to, because now you have to get in that tier 1 somewhere.
Right.
So if you're drafting Bell's on the flip. Is he on the bottom of tier 1 now or in the middle? Well, Hopkins at top of tier 1 on wide receivers. Grab him. Then on your next 2 picks, I'm going to focus solely on the running back.
Tier 2 running backs. Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
Hopefully I get still a bottom end of tier 1 on my way back.
Right. I mean, you think about a lot of people
you could get a Mixon. You could get somebody like that.
Dalvin Cook. These guys are going to be sitting right there, I think, again.
Yeah.
So,
various guys.
You just got to make sure you then. Yeah, that's a sleeper right there.
I think people are going to have forgotten about him, and he's going to go once people start seeing some training camp videos and practices. As long as he stays healthy, I mean, he's in that tier 2 running back group. I mean, you saw the anger, the strength, and the power in those runs that he had before he got hurt. I mean, and if that offensive line is even halfway healthy, I think he's just one of those guys. And I mean, I think the NFC East is going to have an elite running back group across the board. I mean, you really think about it. Philadelphia, they're probably the only one that's going to be trying to search.
I mean,
if he's coming back, I have no idea what his deal is. I mean, he's got that knee issue, and it just seems like that's what wore him down this year. But you got a young guy like Saquon who just came in the league. You got Darius Geis who's coming off of a surgery who didn't really even play last year, obviously.
Right.
And then you got Ezekiel Elliott. I mean, you got top tier running back quality right there. So
guys they just need to get a quarterback for guys.
I agree. I hope the Redskins. I know it's probably a long shot. We draft 15, but Haskins, I'd like to see that, or a Nick Foles, because I don't think Alex Smith's going to be back. And
no, I saw his leg in that picture or whatever when he was sitting in a press box at a hockey game.
Well, he went to the Washington Wizards.
That's what it was.
Game.
He had that giant metal frame brace on with his knee screws.
I didn't even know they made braces that big still.
I didn't either. I thought that was like an 80s, 90s thing. I didn't realize.
Well, it was bad. I mean, his break was bad. So I seriously doubt he'll be back this year, and I think it might even be career ending because he got infected at one point.
Oof.
I mean, if I was him, you got a pretty good amount of guaranteed money.
Yeah.
I'd go ahead and just call it a day, be done. Count your blessings that you still have your leg, because there was at one point they thought they might have to amputate. You got a leg. You can still walk around. You still can use all of whatever you got on your leg. I would just count it a win, walk away, enjoy your family, have a good life.
I know it's easier said than done.
I know
he's not leaving on his terms, and that's hard to do.
And it's no different than a coach or a player. You got those itches when you leave, and it's not the way that you want to leave. I understand that, but I mean, guys like Zach Miller was even younger in his career, who's never going to probably play again. I mean, Ryan Shazier. I mean, hearing things that he's trying to come back, I'm like, dude, just call it a blessing that you got what you got back.
Well, Pittsburgh's still paying him for the years that he signed for.
Right. He's a free agent. He's a free agent at the end of this year, and they're talking about re-signing him, and so that way he can still be with the team and all that stuff. I just think that if you're given that opportunity to be able to use the leg or the back or whatever that you were potentially going to never be able to use again. In the big picture here, what's more important?
Yeah.
I mean, you already got money. It's not like you're poor. You got money stashed aside. You got money that you got guaranteed to you. And you got your health at this point. So I would just walk away. Be an advocate of some sort. If you want to help out the team, do your little rah-rahs and go in there and pump up the guys like Shazier's done, great. But I just wouldn't wait. I wouldn't waste this opportunity that you've been given back to potentially hurt yourself even more or get back into the old situation where you're not able to even function as a general human being.
Right.
But
Cincinnati held on to David Pollock's contract too when he got hurt.
Right.
They gave him the money that they guaranteed.
I just think that's a good will showing that you're a classy group, that you're going to take care of. Because I mean, for good or for bad, this guy was out there for your team and he got hurt.
He literally left it all on the field.
Right. I mean, it's not like these guys that go out and play basketball pick up in their driveway and blow out a knee or something like that. I mean, he was out on the field. So, anyways, alrighty. What is the next award? This is award number 4, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is the worst draft pick.
Oh.
You should have that toilet drop.
I know.
Yeah, because this one hits me right in the feels, okay? He was my 4th-round pick, and probably a lot of people's 4th-round pick. His ADP was 401. None other than Robo Gronk himself, Rob Gronkowski.
Oh, my gosh. That guy sucked this year.
Man.
They wouldn't even plan that out. It felt to you. That's this category for you to get Robo Gronk.
Yeah,
that's perfect.
I was so happy that he fell to me in our draft, and then I was like, all right, cool, I'm good. I could have had Kelsey. I could have had Ertz. I could have had anybody.
Oh, yeah.
Because Robo Gronk was hot garbage.
He was bad this year, like really bad.
The first game of the year, he had like 20, 24, I think. And then after that, he didn't get in the 20s again.
No.
He didn't even sniff the teens hardly.
That's why I hate drafting tight ends that early.
I know. Well, I learned my lesson on that one.
Well, no, but you're in that spot where it's like, I got to get a tier guy.
Well,
Do I wait?
I had Kamara Hopkins, Aaron Rodgers, and then Gronk. I was like, I thought I was sitting pretty.
Yeah.
He's got top guys at every position in theory, and then it didn't pan out.
No.
It happens that way. I mean, at least you weren't like Ramsey a couple years ago where your first 3 picks got injured in the same season and you just pretty much just hope that you were able to field a team by week 10. I mean, he had Rodgers go down, he had David Johnson go down, and he had somebody else get hurt too.
Well, he traded McCaffrey and Michael Thomas, which was dumb.
Yeah.
Well,
sometimes when in Rome. All right.
But yeah, so Gronk, we're sorry if you guys drafted Gronk out there. I mean, it was bad.
He beasted this last game, though.
That's cool, man.
Yeah, how'd that work in fantasy?
Man.
I think I put on Twitter because everybody was giving him credit on the pregame and stuff for all these blocks. We called him, what I call him on Twitter?
Was it
Rob Blockowski?
Yeah. Dude, that's good, though.
Oh, my gosh. But it's the truth, though. I mean, we even said in the preseason when we were doing all of our rankings and stuff, we said that if he played a majority of the games, like we said 12 or more, he should be a top 3 tight end. However, he played 12 games and he still sucked. So,
well, I think with the emergence of Sony Michel in the run game, took away from him, and James White, his pass catching ability, the dump offs and stuff like that, took the short routes away from Gronk too.
Right.
James White actually, I think, led the team in receptions.
It wouldn't even surprise me.
If I'm not mistaken.
Well, you had Edelman miss the first 4 games, so that's But, I mean, you also had Josh Gordon in there who was kind of taking away time. I mean, even though it wasn't a ton of receptions, he was still taking targets away.
Yep.
I mean, it kind of became to the point where it was too many mouths to feed, plus they had a good run game. Plus, let's be honest, Gronk was not healthy. And you could tell about a quarter to halfway through the season somewhere in there that he was just kind of just being out there to be a guy out on the field to help.
Well, he was a distraction at the least.
Yeah, it was uncomfortable to watch him run.
Yeah.
It's like watching RoboCop.
Exactly. Why is Robo Gronk?
Right. You just was like, all right, is this guy going to do anything? And then you're like, I mean, you almost got to the point where you were like, do I really even start him in my lineup at this point?
There was a couple games I didn't. I picked up, I forget who it was, but I picked whoever it was and rolled with them for a couple games, and Gronk didn't do anything. So I wouldn't really want.
Well, I'm telling you what,
I think you rolled Austin Hooper in there 1 week, Jordan Reed 1 week.
Well, there's probably people out there who had to make the decision, do I drop him? Like, who needs wins?
I wouldn't have dropped. Well, I would have tried to trade him, and I did try to trade him. I almost had a few worked out, but ultimately it didn't come to fruition. So, thanks, Gronk.
All right.
We appreciate it on this side of the table.
Right. Award number 5.
This is where you're going to win your fantasy league. It's the best waiver pickup.
Oh, yeah.
And the winner goes to none other than Philip Lindsay.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
This is a perfect one, I think.
Yeah, I was going to say, Damian Williams' name showed up in there. A few.
Yep. Didn't have enough sample size for him.
Yeah, he didn't. I mean, Philip Lindsay was splitting time with who was the rookie that came in?
Royce Freeman.
Yeah. Everybody was like, "Oh man, Royce Freeman, Royce Freeman." This we did it too.
Right.
And then Philip Lindsay played in the first couple games, and we were like, "Oh man, who's this guy?" And then if you picked him up around week 4, week 5, you were golden because he shined after that.
Yeah, so he had a good year, and then I think James Conner was actually one of the guys that he finished, I think, like second or third, one of the two, on waiver wire.
And if we would have done the best handcuff of the year, it would have been Conner.
Well, we told everybody at the beginning of the year, before drafting, if you draft Bell, you better get Conner just in case.
Right, and if you don't, if you need a late dart throw in the draft, James Conner was somebody that you potentially use as trade bait to the Le'Veon Bell owner if he sits out the first couple of weeks. Yep. We didn't realize that first couple of weeks meant the entire fantasy football season. So
if you listened, you had Conner, you really didn't miss much.
No. Nope. You probably were happy for those 12, 13 weeks in a row that he blew it up.
You're just more mad you held on to Bell as long as you did.
Yeah.
Just wasted that roster spot.
I mean, we talked about it halfway through the season, right before the trade deadline, actual NFL trade deadline, and saying, if you're going to get rid of Bell, now's the time to do it before the trade deadline passes and the fate is over, because there's still that hype that he may come back, and there's no guarantee that he was.
Right. We said even if you had to package Conner with him to get somebody big, do it.
Yeah.
You know something we didn't talk about on the show, but it kind of relates to this category? If you're in a keeper league and a big-name guy goes down and they end up getting dropped because they go on IR or season injuring, pick him up at the end of the year.
Yes.
Put him on your roster. Give you a chance the way next year, if you decide to keep a keeper, you keep the injured player from the year prior, depending on what your league rules are, you could get a late pick and that be your keeper.
Oh, yeah.
Something we just didn't talk about, and it was strategy that I use in my other league.
We don't do it in our league.
Right.
But if you look at the end of the season, I dropped Odell Beckham Jr. for the last 2 games.
Right.
Because I didn't think he was coming back.
Right.
And I picked up a receiver I needed to play.
Yeah.
But it's a redraft,
but
so it's a little bit different.
You were in a totally different situation, too.
The last week, though, I picked OBJ back up.
Yep.
I knew we don't do keepers, but
yeah.
Right, no, I understand.
Scenario would be great, yeah.
I understand. Yeah, I mean, keeper leagues, you definitely got to kind of keep those eyes on. I know that one guy, who was it? Oh, one of our listeners told me that David Johnson was dropped about right around fantasy football season playoffs last year when he got hurt?
Yep.
And he picked him up off of waivers and right at the championship week, because the way that their waivers work for keepers is they have to be picked up within the fantasy football season, whether that's before the fantasy playoffs are done. So week 16, he picked him up before the week 16 game started, and he was in last place, or second to last place, I think. And he ended up picking him up and ended up blowing it up this year with David Johnson. Even though he struggled at times, he was able to use David Johnson and trade him away for a bigger name. Somebody like, I think he ended up trading him for an Alvin Kamara and another wide receiver before the season even started. So, I mean, that's something that you could do as well.
Yep.
So, but no one knew that David Johnson was going to be so bad this year. We kind of were cautious,
right?
But we didn't think it was going to be as horrible.
If your name wasn't Larry Fitzgerald, you were nothing.
Right, which he's coming back for season 16 now. So
cool.
Yeah, that quarterback situation is not exciting.
Yeah, it's going to be Rosen.
Yeah,
or Kyler Murray.
I mean, they got.
We ain't in there.
You don't think so?
No.
Cliff said he likes him.
Oh, but did you hear good old John Gruden said at the Senior Bowl that he's all in. He didn't verbally say I like Kyler Murray, but he kind of threw it to the wayside that he's not your prototypical undersized quarterback.
Well, they put a bunch of scouts on him. They ran a bunch of numbers, and what I'm hearing and what I'm reading, he's not going to get looked at in the top 10.
Yeah,
so
I've heard he's going to be a second-round pick.
Yeah, that's what I'm hearing too. He's
kind of like that Lamar Jackson, where he's going to be really at like the end of the first.
Well, like I said, he's still got Scott Boras as his agent. I think he's just leveraging the NFL to make the A's give him that guaranteed money, and then I think he'll go play baseball.
Interesting.
Now, if that doesn't happen, I'd stay in the draft.
Right. It'll be interesting.
And a team's going to get desperate. They're going to need a quarterback. Heck, he might even fall to your Redskins.
No, I hope not. No.
I'm just saying.
No.
Desperate team, and they're drafting kind of in the middle.
No. If they do that, man, I don't know what I'm going to do. Just pack it in for another year.
Yeah.
You could pick.
I'd say you could join the Bengals train, but
no, not
everyone's
doing that
falling off of that one.
You could be like Thacker and have like your regular season team and then your playoff team.
He's a Bengals fan for regular season, then he's got the Packers as his playoff team.
Listen, no shame in this game. The Bengals are never there or never win, so you might as well root for a winning team.
If the Redskins ever moved anywhere or sold out and went somewhere else, I would legit become a Vikings fan.
There you go. Not bad.
Just saying.
Listen, I like the Vikings players. I don't look good in purple.
Yeah, I look good in anything.
Fair enough.
He's modest. All right. What's the final award for the Fantasy Football Award Show?
It is the Comeback Player of the Year.
All right. And the winner is?
Andrew Luck.
Wow.
I like this one.
I do too.
I will tell you, second place was his teammate, T.Y. Hilton.
Yes.
They should be. Anybody on the Colts, really, because and they missed him. I mean, you could tell they missed him last year.
Ebron actually was third. There was 3 Colts in a row that were first, second, and third.
Not playing the homer card here, but Adrian Peterson should have been on that list too.
He was 4th.
Yes, and that's the route I thought people were going to take.
Well, I would pick Andrew Luck over Adrian Peterson, but Adrian Peterson had a horrible year last year.
I say Adrian Peterson was 4th. It was first was Luck, second was Hilton, third was Ebron, 4th was Adrian Peterson.
Man,
for the Redskins using their 9th and 10th offensive linemen for the year, he's still got 1,000 yards.
They were just picking up big, heavy-set guys from the gym saying, "You look like you're big. You come on in here.
You guys want to play O-line?"
You're like,
Andrew
like
Luck. I mean, you could tell he dramatically changed that whole team.
Yeah.
I was glad to see Peterson come back and be successful this year.
Well, he said he wants to re-sign in Washington for another year and be back up to guys.
So
keep it going.
Well, I will tell you, in reference to the old, we're talking about like who finished second, third, and whatnot. In the worst player category, Bell, close second. And third was Leonard Fournette.
Yeah, he had a bad. I don't know what the hell happened to the Jacksonville Jaguars.
He was out there. He was fighting.
Again, Fournette was a first-round pick.
He was fighting people on the field.
Punching people's helmets.
He just was
Bortles turned into Bortles again. The defense just disappeared.
Yeah, I don't know. It just seemed like that whole team was lost once the defense
Jacksonville
caved.
was a sinking ship.
Yeah, they were supposed to take the next step.
They were, and the defense caved early in the season, and it just never got better.
Jalen Ramsey kept running his mouth.
Kept getting balled on.
Well, my biggest thing with them was the offense was never good enough to carry you. It was all based on the defense carrying you. And once the defense started imploding and people figured out the schemes and how to attack that defense to get points on the board, then you're putting your money into the wrong basket of that offense, which was basically, jigsaw puzzle put together where you got one good player in Leonard Fournette, then you got a bunch of misfit wide receivers.
Yep.
An offensive line that was at least upgraded, but let's just be honest, the quarterback was horrible.
That's what they desperately needed. They need a quarterback.
Well, they got wrapped up in that situation that a lot of teams get in. It's Bortles needed to be, or you got to either sign Bortles or let him go, and they didn't want to restart with a new quarterback. I always say, listen, Bortles wasn't getting it done. What does it hurt to go get another one?
Right. You have a rookie running back. You have a bunch of young receivers. Go get you a rookie quarterback that they can grow with.
Right, and go get yourself a free agent like Foles is this year and just patch a hole real quick. It's not the best situation, but it's Bortles we're talking about here.
Right.
Yeah, I can think of plenty of other quarterbacks better than Bortles.
Yeah, that are
not even playoff caliber quarterbacks.
I'll tell you right now, I'd take Joe Flacco in Jacksonville with a young quarterback learning behind him.
Yeah.
I don't see nothing wrong with that.
No.
Listen, it's not going to be a Super Bowl winning team, but
it's going to be competitive at least.
Yeah. Well, then again, Fournette's got to come in wanting to play and in shape.
Right.
So
I think that's a whole different scenario anyway, with the team avoiding a bunch of his stuff. And
he came in and kind of tried to make nice with the front office staff and stuff like that and try to make it better. But let's just put it this way. I would not be surprised if on draft day or prior to draft day, Leonard Fournette is shipped somewhere else for draft picks.
I could see that happening.
I'm just saying it would
I mean,
not.
if they're
going to
do a total rebuild, this would be the year to do it.
Well, especially if you look at free agency happens before the draft. So
and Fournette's going to be wanting some cash. He came out in that class. I think he's in his fourth year or whatever.
so his third year.
This is his third year. So he just finished up his third year, right? Did he come out in the Gurley class?
No, this.
He came out with
this
Kamara.
Is the end of his second season.
So he came out with Kamara's class. Okay, so he's going to be wanting some money after next year. So now would be the time to go ahead and get rid of him.
What if Jacksonville? Yeah, just keep an eye on Jacksonville because what if they sign like a Mark Ingram or somebody like that?
Yeah.
Or Le'Veon Bell.
Yeah, and then the writing would be on the wall for Fournette on draft time to be shipped out for draft picks.
Right. It'll be interesting. I know that there was some names initially when this whole Fournette thing came down. The Oakland Raiders was a name that kind of stuck out to everyone that might be an interesting, based on his overall demeanor and his play style, that he would fit in right into a John Gruden offense.
Oh, and plus he publicly stated he doesn't want to play for any cold weather teams.
Well, that eliminates a good portion of the NFL.
Right.
You do have to go play cold weather eventually. You don't get to not play in cold weather ever.
I don't know how these agents of these players just don't go insane. Like, just
they probably do.
I'd tell them, listen, just keep your mouth shut. Let's go get paid. Then you can do whatever you want.
Well, that's what keeps them sane is they see the money rolling in.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, AB, according to his Twitter account, is open for business. Just so everyone knows. So he's I hate to say it, but I think he's out.
I can't believe he wants to play for San Francisco.
He wants to get out from underneath the Pittsburgh Big Ben thing. That's what it is. Because I think it comes down to he doesn't. In the big picture, Mike Tomlin and Big Ben, none of them has come to his aid. They've all pretty much said that he's in the wrong. He's the bad guy out of the group. I mean, when the head coach basically takes the quarterbacks and says, "Hey, Big Ben's not at fault here." I mean, it's kind of only one really, unless you keep your mouth shut and just put your head down and go to work, which we all know AB is not that personality type.
Yeah.
It's not going to work. Plus, on the simple fact that, let's be honest, Juju SmithSchuster is continuing to get better and better every year, and the writing's on the wall that maybe eventually, I know that it won't be like next year, but eventually if he wants to play out this contract, he may end up being the wide receiver too on the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Yeah.
And do you think a personality type like him is going to be okay with that? He's not going to be a Larry Fitzgerald where he's going to take a back seat to be in the one. We all know that Larry Fitzgerald is still the one in that offense. However, where he lines up on the field, he just lines up on the field anywhere just to get out on the field. He learned to be a better wide receiver because he knew that some of his young attributes weren't there anymore.
Right.
Where I just don't think Antonio Brown, he kind of, to me, I lump him in the same communication or whatever you want to kind of like group.
Conversation.
Yeah, conversation is like Des Bryant. That mentality that I meant in the concept that he's never going to change. He's not going to learn. He's not going to change his way.
Way better than Des Bryant. But
oh yeah, I meant in the concept when he gets to a certain age where his speed and his agilities and all that starts diminishing because of age. I don't see him as the type of receiver to go out and be like a Larry Fitzgerald to learn how to be the best you can be at 30 plus.
Well, I'm not going to say that Antonio Brown, wherever he goes, is going to be a bust.
Oh no,
right.
The chemistry that him and Big Ben have right now plays a huge part in their success.
Right. I mean, rolling into San Francisco with Jimmy G wouldn't be like the worst thing ever, but I mean that's chemistry you got to build.
Yeah, you're not going to just go up and put up Pittsburgh numbers.
No.
Antonio Brown, I don't think.
But I will tell you, if Antonio Brown leaves Pittsburgh, Juju Smith-Schuster's ADP starts rising.
Yeah.
Even quicker.
And Connor.
Yeah. I mean, that whole offense starts kind of trending. Key players start trending upwards. So, alrighty. Well, that's it for the Fantasy Football Awards show. It's the end of the season 2, so we'll be off for about a month, for the month of February, for sure. Obviously, we'll see how that goes. It'll be interesting not to have to record. It always is weird for that month that we're off. I mean, it's nice to kind of take a break and recharge and be refreshed when we come back in March, but
That's my first break. So.
And what's in March?
March, isn't that combine?
My
No,
birthday?
that's in February. Free agency
Oh,
is in March.
Right. I'm kind of hoping to see what we'll officially know then with Bell.
yeah, we'll know Bell and all those guys.
When we come back for season 3, it'll be right in the free agency. It'll just be getting ready to start up.
Yeah, so we've got some fun things though. I mean, off-season stuff that we're going to come back in March and to discuss, and then we've also got a fun little thing that we're working out to actually run our own NFL Combine amongst us to videotape and have fun. I expect there to be a lot of puking and a lot of like hands on the hips and wheezing back and forth. So because none of us are in that good a shape to run like that well.
There'll be a disclaimer if there's video.
Warning, do not watch this if you have a weak stomach.
Or if you think we have any athletic ability.
We apologize in advance.
I mean, you guys are pretty much in shape. I am a shape. It's like circle.
Did he just say I am a shape?
Circle.
Whoa.
It'll be fun, though. I can't wait to,
I can't
to
either.
do that.
So we're going to have a good time for Season 3. We got a lot of fun stuff planned and more guests coming on in the off-season scheduled. So it'll be a fun time.
Probably work in some new segments. And
Yeah.
We'll do some changes.
oh, yeah. Got to keep it fresh.
Yep.
Like Zest.
Zest. Irish Spring.
Isn't that Zest of... Never mind.
Because you're zestfully clean.
There you go. See, I knew there was the...
Zestfully clean.
See, I
But I was thinking the Irish one, too.
You guys are
Irish
horrible.
Spring.
Yeah.
All right, well, we finished Season 2 out with talking about whether it's
So-
Zest or Irish Spring.
Yeah, they'll be in our ADPs.
Yeah, they'll be in our IDPs.
We're going to rank the soaps.
I think we should.
Dove's up
Maybe
there.
we'll do that in, like, February.
Yeah.
We'll just put out Twitter
Yeah.
posts, like, your favorite, like, men's soap, body
Are you a
soap.
bar guy or a liquid?
Yeah, are you the liquid gel guy or are you the bar soap?
Or
the old
all in
school?
one, shampoo and.
Yep.
Oh.
The
Oh,
2-in-1.
This could be good.
That's all me.
2-in-1. It's multitasking.
Yeah.
So, all right, guys. Well, thanks again for tuning in for this week, as well as for Season 2 as an entirety. If you are catching this this is like your first episode, I know it sounds weird that we're already taking a break, but we'll be off for the month of February and come back for March.
Listen,
so pick
we're
it up.
gonna up our soap game. We'll be back.
Yes.
Yeah, if this is your first time listening, guess what? You can go back and listen to all the previous shows.
Right.
Yeah.
This is true. So make sure you check us out on whichever podcast forum you listen to, whether it's iTunes, Google Play, or Stitcher, as well as on YouTube, the video portion, as well as on DATV if you're a local Dayton guy or girl watching the show. It's on, I think Channel 6, depending on your area. But either way, we appreciate what you guys have done for us this season. And we plan on
Absolutely.
bringing it back next for Season 3, bigger and better and fun. And maybe we'll make sure we bring this host back.
Yeah, he's coming back.
Okay.
I'm coming back.
He's with us.
So, all right, make sure you check out the website, thehateful8ff.com. We've got 2 articles currently on there.
I was gonna say the writers are still pumping out articles, so
Yeah,
those guys never take a break.
Frank's got one that he's already got out there, and it's the coaching changes and how that could potentially affect fantasy purposes next year. And then Connor has got one, and he kind of goes more into like the statistics side of things, analytical side of it, with his article. So
big shout out to them. We thank you.
yeah, and they'll be pumping out articles once a week still, so we'll have fun with that. But make sure you follow the show's Twitter accounts, personal accounts at jpickle th8ff, at jblackburn th8ff, and at ftrim th8ff. So we appreciate you guys, and we will see you guys for Season 3, and looking forward to seeing you guys for that.
Absolutely.
Yep.
All right, we'll see you guys later.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
There ain't no one like these 3. You know you just heard Pickle, Blackburn, and Trimboli. Give the goods talking about nothing but fantasy football. Yeah, it's your year to dominate and to wear that ring. Prepare for the draft and dial in on your craft. Quarterback, the first round is a good choice, you ask? This guy's got first round pick, a favorite? Not so fast. He failed to tune into Hateful Eight. He's a chump finishing last.